Let's talk a bit about how trials work, starting with the phases. What happens at each phase?
So there are actually 4 phases of clinical trials, although 3 phases are typically what's talked about. So phase 1 is when we are first introducing the new medication, the combination, or the new medication, the old medication in a new scenario for the first time in a human being. So phase 1 encompasses a lot of different things. It could be a first in human phase 1, where we're giving the drug for the first time in a human being. It could be, as I said, the combination of drugs being used for the first time in a human being, or it could be that we have this drug that works for this other cancer and we're trying it out in this new cancer. So we might have experience with this drug in another scenario, but not in the scenario we're trying to do. And the primary purpose of the phase 1 clinical trial is to see if it's safe. So that's the primary purpose of a phase 1 clinical trial, to see if this new medication, this old medication in a new scenario, or this new combination is safe to use going forward. Right. We are able to see if it works to a small degree in the phase 1 trial, but typically these trials are very small with somewhere between 10 to 50 patients. And so it's hard to know how well this works by looking at such a small amount of patients. Once the phase 1 trial goes forward, we usually go on to phase 2. So one of the other points about a phase 1 is to determine the correct dose. So usually in phase 1s, we increase the dose of the drug slowly until it meets some sort of toxicity cutoff for our patients. So once that dose is discovered, then we move on to phase 2. And phase 2 is usually a small study, usually about 50 to 100 patients, where we're looking at preliminary efficacy to see if this drug, this new combination, or the drug in a new scenario is actually working. And so phase 2 will tell us we think it's working. And then if it looks good in phase 2, it gets moved on to phase 3. Phase 3 is the final part of the drug development, where if it passes phase 3, it usually gets approved by the Federal Drug Administration. And phase 3 is usually a randomized trial where you're giving the new drug, the combo, or the old drug in a new situation, and you're comparing it to whatever's used as standard of care in that particular scenario. Right. And that's usually a randomized study where patients are either getting the new thing or the old thing, and then we're determining which one works better. Lastly is phase 4, and this is post-marketing. So after a drug gets approved, the drug company and the FDA requires just a wide scope of just data that's collected to see how well the drug is working and if it's safe once it's brought out to the wider community.